the moment Dr. Rourke angled the ultrasound wand across my lower abdomen. I felt the entire class staring at me. Her voice was steady, clinical, but when she paused, the silence sharpened. I knew something was wrong before anyone said a word. Then the whispers started. Someone gasped, another snickered. I kept my eyes on the ceiling, pretending I couldn't hear the cruel comments swirling around me. When Dr. Rourke finally dismissed the class and pulled me aside, my palms were cold. Her voice softened in a way that sent a jolt of fear through me. She told the class it was a polyp, but it wasn't. It was a fetus. The world blurred, pregnant, me, alone, broke, grieving my mom who died weeks ago. I had no one, yet somehow I wasn't entirely alone anymore. I walked out in a daze, only to run straight into 3 drunk men from campus. They cornered me, calling me the wrong name, insisting I'd promised them something. I tried to fight them off, but my limbs felt heavy, wrong, like something was off inside me. That was when he appeared. A stranger at the time, tall, sharp-eyed, wearing a watch worth more than my apartment. His presence alone was enough to send them running. When he steadied me against his chest, I felt warmth, safety. I told myself the dizziness was from the drugs they'd slipped me, but the way I felt around him was different, dangerously different. He helped me to my car, but when he stumbled, burning hot, murmuring apologies, everything tilted. I remembered flashes, his hands, his breath, his softness, despite his size. I remembered wanting him more than the next inhale. When it was over, I told myself it was the drugs, a mistake, a one-time event. I told myself he wouldn't remember me anyway. I should have known something was wrong that night. I remembered her scent before I remembered her face. Something soft, clean, something that dragged me back from the edges of unconsciousness. I had been drugged, barely coherent, and she held me upright as if she were the one rescuing me. When I touched her, even in that haze, I felt something I'd never felt with anyone. Afterward, when I woke alone, I spent weeks searching for her. Not because of the intimacy, we both clearly hadn't been in our right minds, but because she had saved my life. And then today, while walking into my first guest lecture as visiting professor, I saw her, Liana, except she looked at me like we'd never met. I kept searching her face, trying to place the familiarity. The moment she introduced herself as my assigned research assistant, my pulse kicked. Something about her voice twisted inside my chest. I tried to ask if we'd met before, but my assistant, Adam, shot me a warning look. Even so, I couldn't shake the feeling. When Dr. Levin praised her work and suggested she'd be perfect for the role, I agreed instantly. I wanted to know why she felt like a missing memory. I wanted to know why the sight of her unsettled me. But when she sat across from me in the lab and recited complex concepts like second nature, something else flared: respect, admiration, and that strange pull I couldn't explain. He didn't remember me. That became painfully obvious the moment he looked at me with polite curiosity instead of recognition. It shouldn't have hurt, but it did. Worse, I couldn't escape him now. He was brilliant, intimidating, annoyingly handsome, and I was carrying his child. I couldn't let him know. With his money and influence, he could take my baby, and I'd have nothing to fight with. I tried to quit before the position even started, but Dr. Levin begged me to reconsider. So I accepted and walked into the lion's den. And of course, Brielle and Kendra pounced the moment they saw Rowan choose me. They mocked my clothes, my background, whispering that he'd never want someone like me. When Brielle shoved a pregnancy test at me and demanded I prove I wasn't pregnant, something inside me snapped. I refused, standing my ground despite the fire in my throat. But when Rowan walked up, hearing part of the confrontation, my heart lurched. I denied everything, terrified he'd see the truth before I was ready. He dismissed the girls, scolding them with a cold fury that shocked everyone. Then he took me to lunch, insisting I eat properly. his eyes lingering too long on my half-empty tray. When he finally asked if I was pregnant, his voice firm but gentle, I broke. I told him the truth. He didn't judge me. He didn't lecture me. Instead, he kept me on as his assistant and promised not to tell anyone. His kindness shook me more than his anger ever could. "She's pregnant." The words hit me harder than they should have. When I asked about the father, and she flinched, something dark twisted inside me. Whoever abandoned her was a coward. I shouldn't care this much, but I did. When she walked away to run an errand for Dr. Rourke, unease stabbed at me. Then Adam showed me the footage of the girl who saved me the night I was drugged. It was her, Liana, and the child she carried might be mine. My breath stopped. I had to find her. Now. The hallway felt too quiet as I walked toward the storage room. Dr. Rourke hadn't actually sent me anywhere. I realized that the moment Brielle stepped out from behind the door with that triumphant, venomous smile, my stomach dropped. Kendra followed, closing the door behind me with a hard click that echoed through my skull. They circled me like vultures, eyes gleaming with cruel excitement. Brielle accused me of tricking Rowan, of seducing him for status. I felt my hands tremble, but I forced my chin up. I told them he picked me because of my research experience. That was when Brielle's lips curled, and she called out to Kendra. Kendra stepped forward, holding something small, white, deadly. The pill. A chemical abortion pill. My blood turned to ice. They said if I wasn't pregnant, then it wouldn't matter. They said this was my punishment for daring to exist in the same world as someone like Rowan Hale. When they grabbed my arms, I kicked, twisted, begged them to stop. But Kendra was stronger than she looked. Brielle taunted me, listing out the side effects with chilling delight: hemorrhage, infertility, uterine damage. I felt their fingers forcing my jaw open as my eyes flooded with tears. I screamed, but the storage room walls swallowed my voice. No one was coming. I thought of my baby, the tiny heartbeat I hadn't even heard yet. I thought of my mom, of all the moments I'd survived alone. I wasn't going to let them take this from me. I clamped my mouth shut until their nails dug into my cheeks. Fear became fury. I bit down on Brielle's hand, and she shrieked, stumbling back. That only made them angrier. Something was wrong. I felt it like pressure behind my ribs. When Dr. Rourke said she hadn't asked Liana for anything from the storage room, everything snapped into place. Adam looked at me as if he'd already guessed. I didn't wait. I stormed down the hallway, calling her name. Nothing. My pulse was pounding so violently I could barely hear. When I reached the storage room door, I heard muffled cries. Rage surged so fast, I nearly tore the handle off. The moment the door swung open, the scene froze like a nightmare. Brielle and Kendra had Liana pinned to the ground. Her face was wet with tears and terror. Kendra held something in her fist. I didn't think, I moved. My voice came out low, lethal, telling them to get their hands off her. They didn't listen, not at first. Then Adam appeared behind me, bigger, angrier, ready to follow my command. I ordered them to drop the pill. Kendra let it clatter to the floor, her face draining of color. Brielle stammered some pathetic excuse about protecting me, about Liana being a slut, about the baby belonging to some random man. Then she said something that snapped the last thread of my restraint, that she would never let Liana have my child. My child. The room tilted. My child. I told them both that if they ever touched her again, I would destroy them, and I meant it. I told Adam to make sure they understood what consequences felt like. They tried to hide behind their money and families, but I didn't care. Nothing was going to save them from what they'd tried to do. My legs shook as Rowan helped me off the ground. My throat burned where I'd screamed. My heart felt like it was trying to break free from my chest. When he touched my face, checking for injuries, my body leaned into him without permission. I hated that I needed him, but in that moment, I did. He told me I was safe now, that he wouldn't let anyone hurt me. His voice trembled with fury, with something else I didn't dare name. The med team arrived, rushing me to the exam room. I kept expecting blame or judgment, but the doctor was gentle, focused. When the monitor lit up, a small rhythmic flutter appeared on the screen. The heartbeat. My baby's heartbeat. Relief washed through me so fast I sobbed. Rowan was at my side, silent, wide-eyed, staring at the screen like he'd found something sacred. When the doctor said the baby, Rowan whispered under his breath, "Our baby." So quietly, I thought I imagined it. He stayed through the entire examination, arms crossed, jaw tight, like he was guarding me with his whole body. When the doctor finished and said I was malnourished, that the baby was stable but at risk if I didn't start receiving proper care, I felt shame burn through me. I hadn't meant to starve myself. I'd just stopped having enough money to eat properly. I hadn't told anyone. How could I? Rowan turned to the doctor and said something that made my breath catch. He told them I would be under his care from now on, that I would never have to worry about food or money again. His voice left no room for argument. When I heard the heartbeat, everything changed. I had suspected, but hearing it, seeing it, hit harder than anything in my life. That tiny flicker belonged to me, to us, my child. The anger I felt toward those girls transformed into something colder, deadlier, but beside all the rage was a deeper emotion that terrified me: protectiveness. Liana lay there shaking, clutching her stomach, still whispering apologies even though she'd done nothing wrong. I wanted to find every person who had ever hurt her and make sure they never touched her life again. Hearing that she was starving made my fists clench. She had been walking around trying to survive while growing my child. The thought hollowed me out. I stayed beside her even after she fell asleep, not ready to leave her vulnerable. Somewhere inside, I knew my life had just split in two before her and after her, and I had no intention of letting her go again. I woke to the soft hum of machines and the faint scent of antiseptic. My body ached, my head throbbed, but the moment I remembered the heartbeat, everything inside me steadied. My baby was okay. I blinked until the room came into focus and found Rowan sitting in a chair beside my bed, elbows on his knees, hands clasped, staring at me like he hadn't looked away all night. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes, they held so much intensity that my breath stalled. When he realized I was awake, he moved to stand, but I caught his sleeve without thinking. He froze. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he exhaled softly and asked how I felt. I wanted to tell him I was fine. I wanted to sound strong, independent, capable, but the truth slipped out instead. I told him I was scared. His jaw tightened, not in anger, but in something that looked like guilt. He murmured that I shouldn't have had to go through any of this alone. I didn't know how to respond. He didn't remember the night that started all of this, and I wasn't sure how much to tell him, or how close to let him get. I'd been alone for so long that letting someone care felt foreign, dangerous, and yet, as he stood there, determined and protective, something warm tugged at my chest. Before I could say anything more, the doctor came in to check on me. Rowan stayed nearby, arms crossed, watching every movement as if making sure no one else could hurt me. It should have annoyed me. Instead, it made me feel strangely safe. When she opened her eyes and reached for me, something in my chest cracked wide open. I'd been sitting there replaying everything: the night at the bar, the months searching for her, the attack in the storage room, the heartbeat, and it all led back to this moment. Liana, awake, staring at me with exhaustion and defiance tangled together. When she admitted she was scared, an icy anger rose in me again. But this time, it wasn't for Brielle or Kendra. It was for myself. I should have found her sooner. I should have protected her from the beginning. But all I could do now was take responsibility for what was mine. Our child, her safety, her future. When the doctor spoke about her malnutrition, I had to force myself to stay seated. How could someone like her, brilliant, hardworking, stubborn, be suffering in silence like that? I made a promise then, silent but absolute. She would never struggle alone again. After the doctor left, she looked at me with those guarded eyes and asked what I planned to do. The truth burned in my throat. I told her I intended to take care of her and the baby, that I wanted them safe, healthy, protected. She shook her head, insisting she wasn't asking for charity, that she didn't want to be trapped by pity. The more she spoke, the more I realized she feared losing her autonomy more than anything else. I stepped closer, lowered my voice, and told her it wasn't pity, it was responsibility and choice. My choice to be part of this, her choice to let me. His words terrified me as much as they soothed me. Responsibility, choice. No one had ever said those things to me. No one had ever offered to share my burdens without expecting something in return. I turned my face away, overwhelmed. The past few months had been one long stretch of survival. Shifts at the diner, studying until dawn, living off scraps while pretending everything was fine. I didn't know how to process someone looking at me like I mattered. But Rowan didn't push. He waited, and that patience made me feel seen in a way that brought stinging tears to my eyes. I wiped them quickly, embarrassed, but he noticed. He always seemed to notice. He reached out like he wanted to touch my cheek, but hesitated. For a moment, I wished he hadn't stopped. Then the door burst open. Brielle's father, fuming, entered with administrators trailing behind him. He shouted accusations, demanded my expulsion, insisted his daughter had been provoked. I prepared myself for the worst. My stomach twisted painfully around my child, but Rowan stepped in front of me, blocking their view. He was there, he protected me. Even when Brielle and Kendra were brought in, their excuses fell apart. Rowan loved me, and he was here to stay.